Hello, friends. How are you? How's things? How's life? How was this week? Did you have a good week? I hope so. Um, I brought the Kindle because we're going to talk about books. Specifically, we're going to talk about westerns. There is a reading event going on right now, sponsored by a bunch of people that I watch on YouTube called June on the Range. The idea is to read westerns during the month of June. Last year, this is when I started reading. I believe when I started reading the C.J. Box series. And I forget what it's called, but I enjoyed that. And I decided that, modern cowboy counted. This year, I wanted to read some, actual cowboy books. By actual, I mean, some ubiquitous, or some, quintessential cowboy books. I've read some Louis L'Amour before, but I wanted to read the books that I saw. Okay. When I was a kid, I remember romance novels and westerns, Harlequin romance and westerns. They were all about the same size, pocket size, mass market paperbacks, a couple hundred pages, short books. You would go into in grocery stores, and every store ever had a turning rack that would have Harlequin romance books on it. And if it was a bookstore, maybe they had a rack for Harlequin romance and a rack for westerns. But a lot of places you'd spin that rack, and there would be a couple of rows of westerns for men. For men. So I wanted to read some of those. What are those books? Let's just see what 70s, 80s, 60s, I don't know when they started writing this style of book. But what I have learned since starting this adventure on these books is that these were called adult westerns. Because these are not Louis L'Amour, just kind of adventure stories. These are salacious. So the first one that I picked, oh man, I picked a book called Longarm and the Hell Riders. Now, the Longarm series by, quote, Tabor Evans, there's 500 books in this series. There's a lot. There's a lot of books in this series. It was almost a monthly series for many, 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 many years. It is not really a series. I mean, I guess it's a serial, but it's not, it doesn't really have, a continuing narrative is not really a part of this series. I guess there is. I don't know. I've only read one of them ever, Longarm and the Hell Riders. I picked this one because it was what popped up on Amazon for 99 cents when I searched. Bought it because it was a short book. And part of the reason that I'm doing this, reading these books, is because they are 3-4 hour reads. They don't take very long. They're a couple hundred pages. And I'm way behind on my reading goal for the year. And this month I'm going to have plenty of time to read. I needed something that I could just kind of burn through for reasons. And I was not expecting to open this book and immediately, within the first sentence, be affronted with sex. In a very weird way. I'm not going to say this book is pornographic. I mean, I guess the scenes there's I think there's 3 sex scenes in this book, and they are fairly pornographic sex scenes. But the weird part about it is, these scenes, I don't even know how to describe it. It is oddly specific, but while using the least specific terminology you could possibly imagine. I'm not going to read it for you, but just imagine I'm explaining to you how to put a screw in a piece of wood. And I tell you that to put the screw in the piece of wood, you have to first insert the tip and get it, started slowly. And then you take your long metal shaft and you insert it in the right spot. And that's what I'm talking about, right? And you twist and you twist and you twist your long handled shaft until the screw is fully engaged. And that's how these scenes are written. They're extremely explicit, but in baby language. Like they won't just say penis. They'll say these weird, you know, like I just did with the screwdriver and a screw. They'll make up just weird similes to explain what's happening to this extremely graphics, and it's the stupidest thing I've ever read in my life. I was laughing reading these sex scenes. And the funny part, the weird part about it is, the book is good. I gave this book 4 stars. The story is fun. It is exactly what I thought it would be. It is men's fantasy. And men's fantasy, if you don't know what men fantasize about, it's about riding in and saving the day. That's it. That's the man's fantasy. It's about taking care of other people's problems, fixing things for people, and going on your way. That is the fantasy of men. And that's what this book is. This book is about a man who is gruff and lives in the, on his horse, and he rides in and saves the day. That's the fantasy of this book. And for whatever reason, there's going to be they're going to put some sex in it. It's fine, but they can't just tell you what's happening. They have to give you, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe that is how you avoid being labeled as pornography, when you have this flowery way of describing the woman's parts and the man's parts and what's happening, but it's just ridiculous. On top of that, going to the man fantasy part of it, there's a good bit of, I don't want to say misogyny, but like the women in this book are like, they're just placeholders, or they're just set pieces to serve the man. Whether it be this main character, or there's another character in this book that also gets some gratification. These women are just like, they just can't keep their hands off the man because the man's here and now I'm going to do things to him. And that's just like, that's creepy and weird. Come on. Seriously. But I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the kind of mystery aspect. There's a little bit of a, like, who are these ghost riders or these hell riders, and why are they terrorizing the homesteads, and some good Western. Oh, the other part of it is, in contrast. So the second book I'm reading right now is not one of these. The second book I'm reading is long been considered like the start, or like this is what it's kind of like the model for all Westerns that came. So the second book I read is not showing up on my screen right now, is Zane Grey's Riders of the Purple Sage. This was a book written in like the 1890s or 1880s, I think. And it kind of focused, there it is, Riders of the Purple Sage. This is like the original Western. And it's kind of set in Utah and around the Mormon community. And, it's the same mysterious rider comes to town to save the day, whatever. But the interesting part, this book was written during the time of the West, or thereabouts. And this book uses very normal language. But Longarm, being a kind of men's adventure, sexy, like, character piece, the narrator of the book uses this weird, like, he calls everybody hombres, and it's just like, come on. The original Zane Grey didn't write like that. Zane Grey wrote like normal people are in this experience, and they're I don't know. It felt very funny. It was a very funny book to read, and I'm going to read more of them. I will say, I did read the entirety of the first kind of scene. I did not read, like, I just kind of glossed over the next couple of sex scenes, because I don't care. Like, I wanted to read the story, and I had fun with the story. So, but Riders of the Purple Sage, very good book. It was much harder to get into. This book has a little bit of the trappings of the time that it was written, so it's a little harder to, the characters aren't so, I don't care so much, like, there isn't the big showmanship like there is in the Longarm series. The Longarm series is like, wrestling written down. It's just action, big scenes, boastful characters. Riders of the Purple Sage is more literary fiction. It's more, gentle, I guess. And so it does not, it's not as engaging as reading something that's only purpose is to engage you, like the Longarm series. So I haven't started my next book is going to be one of the Gunsmith series, which was another adult fantasy. So I'm sure, or adult a Western, so I'm sure it'll have some hilariously written sex scenes. But yeah, I finally, after all these years, I'm reading some of the books I looked at as a kid and went, I wonder what that's about. But I wasn't really a cowboy Western person when I was little, so it just wasn't my thing. But I grew to appreciate it a lot more as I aged and watched them with my grandfather and such. So you have experience with these novels? What can you point me towards men's adventure that isn't ridiculously salacious, or I don't know how to explain it, that isn't childish? I don't need the sex, but the story was really fun, and I would like to find more fun stories. Just fun to read. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Please like it. It doesn't matter if you liked it, but just hit the like button. And then if you're new here, please subscribe. I very much appreciate you. And I'll see you again on Monday. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do differently. We are learning 9 mindful ways to remain calm when others are angry. We're on number 5. Don't take people's behavior personally. If you take everything personally, you will be offended for the rest of your life. And there's no reason for it. Even when it seems personal, rarely do people do things because of you. They do things because of them. You may not be able to control all the things people say and do to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Make that decision for yourself today. Do what it takes to remain calm and address the situation from the inside out. That's where your greatest power lies. Yeah, I really love that. I really, really love that. You can decide not to be reduced by them, meaning that whatever they say or do or whatever, it's not about you. You don't have to feel lesser than because of their actions. You can choose to not take their affront as a personal attack. It's a choice.